didn't want to deal with anymore because it requires people to babysit. Basically, you need someone on a schedule to continually change boat hands and make sure that people are leaving Cade and on the up and up, and then people who are stuck there because their boats are no longer active, like they had to like contact staff and get ported out, and like I guess he just didn't want to deal with that anymore. So Cade kind of became like an easy target. And I guess he had a vision, and he wanted to create new zones and new areas and do new things. And I know like he was also toying with the idea of like front loading spells because he thought tap was too powerful. I don't know if you remember that, and make it so like regular spells would do more damage, but like tapping for 500 wouldn't exponentially increase the damage. So you'd see very little difference between like an untapped Arnox Blessing and like a 500 tapped Arnox Blessing. So like an untapped Arnox Blessing would always hit for like 250, but like a 400 tapped Arnox Blessing would hit for 400, So there wouldn't be like a significant difference, and he's figured that would make leveling easier for those jobs and make them less broken in terms. It would make power more meaningful, like reserving a power, because like revenants and wizards and stuff like that and ogres for the most part depended on just light tapping the hunt. So all you needed was like 50 power and then as much tap as you could, and you could kill a monster and get like 60k experience. So, but I know for a fact that Cade was broken up because they wanted to add more to the realms, and they couldn't do that because of server space, and Cade was like a really big offender. Evil was also a really big offender. Evil had a lot of space, and a lot of it was unused. A lot of areas went highly unused in Evil. Endless Night was a big area, that kind of like a huge area that kind of like no one really went to because it wasn't worth it. And Underdark was like almost no one ever went to the Underdark. And Serpentine Mountains and like Wastes of Almoran, like no one ever really went to. There was no real reason to. And So basically, it was really easy for him to just break apart Cade, kind of like take the best of Cade, and like disperse it among the realms, and then use like Cade local and like those big areas that no one like were shit, that didn't really have anything, and like just create new zones out of it. And they did that. And I don't know exactly what Good and Chaos got out of it. I know I can tell you distinctly that Temple of Aramal, for example, in Cade, was literally teleported into Evil and shoved into Serpent's Pass, as is. I think they just changed the name of the zone. They may not even have done that. And then Cade was like gone forever. It was shut down. In terms of like if that directly led to the closure of DFC, I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was really more legal. I think it was more just like not wanting to devote too many complaints. Too many people complaining about like not having a programmer and things not getting fixed, and like people are paying and too many complaints, not enough care, like they weren't. Mythic was not going to devote real staff to monitor the game anymore and fix things, and then like they were just going to leave it as is and just let it, as long as it wasn't costing them money, right? Like they were collecting a paycheck, they're not devoting anything to it anymore, and it's not costing them any money, then they were just, I think, planning to just leave it as is and let us kind of like do with it as we will. And I think once EA got involved, and once like Rollmaster, like when it in Games Workshop and stuff like that, like when it ICE and all that, like when because they were going bankrupt, and when they kind of like came out of bankruptcy, and then they joined up. That was the other thing. They joined up with EA and stuff like that to create, to team up to make Warhammer, the technology or whatever their patent on like Rollmaster or whatever the system they use for the algorithms for combat and stuff like that. Like it was just too much, and they didn't want to invest the resources anymore, and it was just easier to just close DFC at that point. So. Yeah, which is unfortunate. And despite all of our like oh, we'll pay you this and we'll pay you that, and like we'll do anything, we'll suck your dick, like all that stuff, like they didn't care. It just wasn't happening. They weren't gonna like open it back up. It was done.
Yeah, so. I have to wonder, had we just stepped in, it's like, hey, look, why don't we just give it to us, and we'll host it for free, and let's just do that, and then wonder if had we done that right after they shut it down.
I think that offer was made.
I guess it probably was, yeah.
by quite a few players. That offer was made. It was just a liability issue. And then, like I said, once it changed hands to EA, it was like, because it wasn't too much longer after that. Like that EA, Dark Age of Camelot, Mythic became an EA property. Once they started going into creating Warhammer, they went in together to make it. It like that wasn't happening. It just wasn't.
Yeah, that's true. They're probably a little more, strict when they're babies. You know, their little cash cows were not even in existence yet. You know, so they're just still planning how to make money off of the new MMOs.
Excuse me. So I mean, that was basically it. I mean, like I said, I'm really looking forward to this game. I mean, I'm not sure. I think you've mentioned a few times that you have an idea of when you might be possibly projecting an alpha.
It's Mike and I. It's one of our first projections. So it's we try to keep true to what we're doing at the time. So like right now, it's just wrapping up a critical update, and then once that's out, then we have another one, and then we still have a couple more to go. So or a few more to go after this one. So it's just a matter of if we get lucky with well, not lucky, but if this critical update that Mike's doing will carry over into all the other ones, which I'm pretty sure will, because he's gone over a few of the details with me, and so he's preparing a lot of things to make sure that the critical updates following this one will, in my mind, be a little bit easier to complete and take less time. So that's kind of the goal, I think, and he's doing great. He's plugging away with the spare time that he has. He has a little bit less time than the rest of us do, but it doesn't mean that his the work that he does isn't the most important. So we're very grateful for what he's done so far, for sure.
Are you projecting, like, how many zones are you projecting per realm usually on launch? You think about 20?
That's a great question. We're still wrapping up the areas, just implementing them and having them in the system. So I think I can have a better answer to that later on, probably. Yeah, we're definitely going to consider how many areas did we release. And so forth. So that'll come up in the near future as far as discussion. But yeah, our loose goal was fall of 2016. That could be early fall, it could be middle, it could be late. So it's just kind of a matter of giving us motivated, to kind of aim for that, and then see where we're at as the weeks progress.
That's gonna suck that you guys are gonna roll this out right when I go back. My semester starts again. Thanks, by the way.
Yeah, dude, trust me. There's plenty of people that are starting school programs that are ready to fail because of this.
Because this is gonna be like, it's like I should be doing schoolwork now, and like I'm like it's not happening. I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, so. It's like weight training. You gotta set aside your hunting time, and then you gotta equally do your studies, and then
it's gonna be so weird now that I think about it. Like how many people are gonna come back to this and play the game, but the leveling is going to be so much more protracted and slow because we all have lives and like families and like work now, and
exactly, and it won't be in the danger of just being destroyed and shut off,
And then we're gonna be like all the old school players are gonna be like trashed by like all the young people that actually find the game, learn to play it because they have nothing better to do, and they're
right.
like, I'm gonna be like Nyx, I'm gonna be like level 30 in like 2 years, and like some like fucking 15-year-old who's like in high school is gonna just bend me over and rape me because like he's got nothing better to do, pretty much. Like
Yeah,
I anticipate things like that. So
that's the nature of it, and it's very funny because we'll hopefully grab a few new players, and hopefully that
I
is
think
attractive.
you guys, if you take advantage of like I know the mods are still a very popular thing. If you basically your GUI, like the DFC GUI, is easily one of the most attractive, best GUIs in any mud I've ever seen. It's very appealing, like the way the whole layout, like the way the chat is set up, the way the rooms are set up, like the picture, the maps, and things like that. And if you guys advertise the game a little bit, like promote it in like a lot of those mud forums and stuff like that, I think you can definitely see a good newbie kind of like player turnout. And that was one thing about DFC. It wasn't really newbie friendly. And I guess you guys are reworking like some boot camp ish things and stuff like that. So that would definitely help towards making it a little more attractive to new players, I think. So.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. And we do know of those forums, and so it'll be interesting to see what we're still trying to figure out exactly how like account creation will go and all that kind of thing, and we have to do the website as well, so there's still a few in between
Now,
pieces
my
that need to be
question
finished.
too, I think I've asked before, have you made any decisions as far as like class limits on an account?
We don't have a hard decision, but the conversation is ongoing. We bring it up here and there, and so that's obviously a huge part of that question, which is so here's the thing: you have two kind of spectrums. One is if it's free to play or just free to sign up, then okay, so what's to stop one person from having an army of characters? And then the struggle is how do we limit multiplaying? And then it's like, okay, well, that's probably not going to be a very good approach, to try and stop people from doing what they're going to do. So then you say, okay, well, do you charge money for this? And that's a very serious question, because we don't want to. We're not trying to. The goal here is to get the game going and just to have fun, and just to release it. So it's hard to really give you what we're doing answer, because we don't quite have that yet. But rest assured, we're constantly kind of looking at it,
That was because that was my I think if I had been able to keep playing DFC, I think at this point I would have had like a level 60 plus everything in evil at this point. I don't know if I'd have been playing good or chaos yet at that point. I think my goal would have been to just max rank and like everything, like realm point wise. Like I was on my way to do that with my Blood Coven. I probably would have went to like Cult of Xanarchus or Zombie next, just because I was probably looking for a little more of a challenge, because the 3 jobs that I played weren't very challenging. But like, I mean, that was the annoying thing about DFC, is that like you were limited to like 3 characters per account, and if you wanted to have like a character on a separate realm, like you had to like wait like 48 hours or however long to like change realms, and that was annoying. But like I understood why it needed to be that way. But there's certain things that like Penn said in chat, like there's certain things that no matter what you do, you're just not going to be able to get around. It's everything subject to abuse at one point or another. Which is unfortunate, but it's just something that you're just going to have to, I guess, just find a way to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, and Ernem, brings up a good point, because there are obviously upkeep costs, and they're pretty manageable, but in the long run, I think for it to not be an issue, that if it also behooves us as developers to keep the game kind of from spiraling into absolute chaos, then I think it's possible that I might want to look into that more. But yeah, we haven't decided yet. This is obviously, it's a passion project, and you guys all know that, and we just want to make sure we do the right thing.
Yeah, but I mean, the good thing is though, I think as far as